Hey, what's going on, chess lovers? This is Maurice Bishop Chess. So y'all know my slogan, life is a game of chess. Guys, I have another beautiful Black Lion game that I want to share with y'all. And it's not what you think. It's very unpredictable. Y'all gonna love this game. So without further ado, let's actually get started. The person that I play, I think he actually called himself Super Share. A very strong player, man, and he actually, I mean, he was actually playing very well against me with the Black Lion. I mean, I played the Black Lion, but actually like trying to get some initiative. It was pretty decent though. I really liked the game. So without further ado, let's actually get started. Um, Obviously he played E4. I played D6. D4, E5. He played Knight C3. So I go Knight B to D7. He takes, I take, and he goes Bishop C4. Um, in this position, guys, the move order that he did was a little bit different. But guys, I've realized that um instead of going knight f3, a lot of times your opponent may go bishop c4 first. Because a lot of times when you go, and I know a lot of times I always tell y'all, if you see bishop c4, you go bishop e7. But in this case, guys, you don't go bishop e7 yet because number one, you don't have to worry about this one because the knight is not on f3 yet. But the problem with going bishop e7 already, is because of queen d5. You'll get hit with this trap. And now, even if you try to go knight a6, then bishop would take off the knight, and white is still threatening checkmate. So don't get caught up in this little maneuver that white was doing on that white be trying to do. So I actually understood like the move order because I had to think like, yo, why he went bishop c4 first. You know what I mean? And I had to realize that usually my principles always go bishop b7, but you usually go bishop b7 if knight f3. Once knight f3 comes in, then that's when you go bishop b7. But like for instance, let me show y'all. Maybe this could make it clear. So obviously, if knight f3 comes in, I usually would go bishop b7, and then bishop c4. Then I could go c6. I don't have to worry about knight g5 because the bishop can capture. So that's what I'm talking about. But in this case, guys, um, bishop c4 was played. And instead of playing bishop b7 because of this queen d5 trick, I played c6 first, just to prevent the queen d5 and also to prevent knight d5 and b5. So you gotta play chess. You gotta think logically. You gotta think, like what, you gotta think like what your opponent, like why is your opponent making that move? Pretty much, guys. Why is your opponent making this move? So I had to think for a minute. And this was a 3-minute blitz, guys. So this wasn't no bullet. So I had time to think. All right. So I go c6. He goes f4, and then I go queen c7. So I get out of that little pin. It's not really a pin because I mean I'm protected, but I just go queen c7 just to get out the way, but also to enforce the e5 point. He goes f5, and I go knight f6. I just develop. Knight f3, and then I go h6, and I go h6 just to prevent bishop g5. I probably didn't have to do it, but I did it anyway. H3, and I go B5 automatically. And I figured, guys, with him by him doing H3, now he has like dark square weaknesses now. All these dark square weaknesses. I have a bishop that could come here, guard all these dark square weaknesses. You know what I mean? So I'm focusing on that. So right now I go B5. When he goes bishop B3, I go A5. He goes A3, and I go knight C5. And I go knight C5, guys, to hit on not just the light square bishop because he does have a nice active light square bishop, which is a nice range. But also, guys, I go knight c5 because I'm also hitting knight captures e4, which is another reason why I did that. He goes queen e2. And he goes queen e2 because he wants to defend the e pawn. Obviously, guys, if he goes back to bishop a2, yes, I can grab that pawn on e4. All right. But queen e2 is what he played, and I immediately go knight catchers b3. But the thing is, guys, I feel as though there was a better move. I feel as though bishop a6 probably should have been the move that I played first. Because honestly, if he castles, then I do have the b4 move. I'm hitting the queen, and even if the uh, white try to block with the bishop, I could still, take, and then if he takes, then I take his knight, and I'm up a piece. So that was something that I was thinking about as well. Um, Also with bishop a6, I mean it's not like he could really go a4 because I'll still threat b4 again. So I thought bishop a6 was kind of actually a real. I thought bishop a6 was really a good move. But I think next time if I get a position like this again, I'm gonna play bishop a6. So that's just something useful, guys, for y'all to actually pay attention to. Bishop a6. All right, so in this case, guys, I go knight captures b3 first. I go knight captures b3 first because I was focusing on the double pawn. It's not necessary just so for the double pawns, guys, but also, guys, I wanted to hit b4, and I'm also thinking about pawn structure in the end game as well. If I was in the end game, I should be able to win. It's like if all these pieces were out the way, I should be able to win the end game. So I go bishop a6 then. So that's pretty much what I did. And he goes queen c2. I kind of thought maybe sacking his pawn to get some initiative probably would have been a good move. Even if he takes and bishop catches b4, I feel like maybe he could have had some type of initiative. Maybe he could castle, maybe go bishop d2. I feel as though white could potentially have some type of options, but I mean that's just me. But he goes queen c2, and I immediately go b4. He goes on knight a4, and obviously, guys, the opponent really wouldn't want to take because of bishop captures b4, and now you have a ugly looking pawn structure and everything, and it's just not looking good. Even if he castles, I have knight h5 plans, and then obviously queen b6 moves, so it just doesn't look good for white, which is why um I felt as though he played it very well, and this was a really good move, knight a4. Because I really thought he was going to take, but he didn't take. So obviously he must have understood pawn structure wise. So I go bishop b7, develop my last piece, and he goes bishop b3, obviously because he wanted to cover dark squares. But also, guys, if I so happen decided to go rook d8, he does have bishop b6 moves, so I was aware of that. So I actually castle. I castle kingside. Usually black line we don't really like to castle, but in this position, I might as well castle. King f2. That's where he goes, and then I go knight h5. And I go knight h5, guys, because again, I want to get all his weaknesses, but also I want to provoke him to trade off his dark square bishop for my knight because I have a dark square bishop, and again, guys, I can create some type of weaknesses. So he goes rook c1, and I go bishop e5. Defending the c6 pawn. And then I still have this nice long diagonal with my light square bishop as well, which is actually pretty cool. He goes g4, and then I go knight f4, and then my opponent actually took, and I thought him taking was a mistake. Um, but he took, and I took back, and he goes e5. And obviously, he's just trying to do a pawn storm, maybe f6, e6, somewhere along those lines. Which I wasn't nervous about it because I go rook d8. I wanted to eye on the second rank if I can get this knight out the way. Queen e4 is where he goes at. Now, this is the thing, guys. There was a move that I could have did, and um, I was so focused on protecting this pawn right here because I wanted the dark square weaknesses and everything, but Starfish thought that rook d3 was actually a better move. Uh if the queen takes rook fd8, I get the double rooks on a d file, and then if that and this was another thing that I was afraid of this f6 move, even though I had bishop f6, but then I also forgot that I had bishop captures f6 because the pawn can't take because the queen is undefended, so I win as queen. So technically, this actually would have been pretty okay for me going down this line. Um, but yeah, but I had something else in mind. Actually, after this queen e4, I actually go queen a7 check, which is where I won it, which is where I went. And then after king g2, I went bishop g5. Obviously, if he takes, guys, I'll be happy with it because of the rook d2. But even after he does take, I don't think I have to take right away though. I'm pretty sure I still have rook d2 check. Um, Obviously he can't come here because this would be checkmate, so he can't come there. After rook d2, um, yeah, if he goes king h1, I do have queen f2, um, which actually should be winning after that. And I don't think there's really nothing for white to do to there's nothing that white can do to actually prevent this mate. I don't see anything that he can do. Even with knight f3, I still got queen g2 checkmate. So yeah. So that's what I was So that's what I was looking for, guys. Still trying to provoke him to take. Not really playing whole chess, but um if he did take or whatever, I mean that was my goal if he does this. But then I did provoke him to do something else. So when I think about something, I got to think of other reasons why else to do it. Uh, he did do a h4 move on me, in which, guys, I did some tactics. I did something. I did bishop captures h4. Um, just hoping that White would take my bishop, but obviously he saw my tactics. He didn't take it. He actually goes queen captures f4. But you're probably wondering what happened if he takes this. Well, it's pretty much the same thing, guys. Rook d2 check. Again, if he comes here, this is still checkmate on f2. And then again, if he comes, I don't know, king h1. I still have queen um what you call it? I still have queen f2 still threatening to checkmate. Guys, even if he goes queen g2, I still have queen captures h4 with a check. And then obviously this rook is still hitting the queen. So that was like my threat. That's what I was threatening, if he did do that. Rook d2. Yeah, and if he goes, I didn't try this one. If king h3, I'm still thinking queen f2 anyway. Yeah, so even with this, it doesn't even matter. Even if he tried to prevent this, but he still get checkmated on g3. So it doesn't really matter. All right, so now that y'all see, the tactics that I was trying to do, obviously, guys, he doesn't take my bishop. He goes queen catches f4, so he saw that coming. But I still go queen f2 check, and then he goes king h3, and then rook d3 is actually where I went. I think, guys, this was a mistake. I think the best move in this position was actually g5. I think this is a killer move after this. With g5, literally he's gonna have to. I mean, it's almost like you're forced to do a en passant after this, because even after g5, guys, you already know mate is coming up. Even if he goes queen h2 trying to exchange queens, you pretty much drop your knight on f3, and then obviously the only way to stop mate is going queen g3, and then you're mated. So g5, and I don't know how I missed that move, but g5 was actually a killer move. That was the best move, and I can't believe I missed that one. Um, but yeah, g5. Even if he F passant, f capture g6. As you see, I have the f file, and now I'm hitting rook captures f3. This is pretty much game over. I would have won the game a lot quicker. So I actually missed that one. All right, so rook d3, because I was thinking I was gonna because I thought with this move, this was like simple, like I could have got on, but for some reason, and the crazy part is, guys, I did see rook f1, I did see this move, but I was like, dang, I can't go rook catches f3, because he could just take back, and yeah, I'm kind of stuck, and I feel like I'll be losing. Even though I had the bishop here, but I didn't have it first because the rook on d3 is blocking that, so I couldn't do anything. So I felt like I made a mistake here, guys. But then I found a solution. What I did is I wound up going queen e2, which is actually where I went. Queen e2, and After queen e2, my opponent actually took my bishop, thinking he won a bishop, but this was my plan. My plan was I did g5. Finally, guys, I did g5, but I should have did it a lot sooner, but it just didn't happen. All right, so look at this, guys. So this is gonna be crazy, guys. F captures g6. I'm sorry, F captures g6, and I go F captures g6, and then he does queen captures f8. Now, before I get into this, guys, this is what I was thinking about because I already knew this was going to happen. Guys, I already know that um, if he takes my rook, because I was already thinking ahead, if he takes my rook or whatever, and I take back, I know he has a discovered check, and he's going to take my queen. The thing is, guys, what I was looking at was I already know my pawn is going to be on g6. So when I was playing it, I was looking at the king space. You see, my rook is on d3. The knight is going to move because I know he's going to take my queen. So this king cannot move to none of this rank here. Once my pawn comes here, the king is not going to be able to come here. So I felt like there was some mating attacks going. So I was like, you know what, I might still be good. So I took a chance and did it. So F captures G6. And the crazy part about this, guys, even though he did the queen captures F8 move, Staffis recommended queen captures H6. Because he could try to get a draw or whatever. And that's pretty much what White was doing. But by him taking his rook, I went king captures, and obviously I'll be winning right now because I still have my queen and I still have some threats coming up. But what he did is he goes knight d4 check, and I go king g8. Now you're probably wondering, guys, why not g7? Now I didn't go g7 first because of knight e6 check, and then if he comes here, then he has rook f8. I have to come here, and he'll keep checking me. This will be a threefold repetition, and I didn't want that. So that's why I did king f1, or was it king g8? King g8. I'm trying to go back. Here we go. King g8. So that's why I went king g8. So I didn't want him to do knight. So obviously, I knew he was going to be propelled to just take my queen. So knight captures e2, guys, and then I hit him with g5 check first. After the g5 check first, I go king g7. I close everything up. Now, guys, I'm threatening checkmate on rook h3. My opponent sees this. He thought for a minute, like he thought for a while, and decided to go rook h1. And then after rook h1, this automatically loses. This automatically loses because I go c5. And there's nothing he can do to stop this bishop coming from e8. My opponent did go knight f4, thinking he could try to stop something, but it was too late after that because the bishop e8 check. And then the only move he can go is knight g6, and bishop captures g6 checkmate. Dang, that was nasty, was it? Very, very nasty. Now look at this. So look at this, guy. So there was something that he could have did. He actually could have saved himself. The best move that he could have did was knight f4. So he's attacking my rook, but at the same time, I can't go rook h1 because of knight h3. So I'm pretty much forced to go g captures f4, and then obviously the rook would take, and then I'm sorry, not the rook won't take because this would be checkmate, obviously. But he won't take the pawn yet, but he may go, I don't know, maybe rook h1 after that because now you gotta, well, shoot, I don't. No, I'm sorry, guys. He wouldn't do that. He would go king h4. That's all he would have to do. King h4. King h4 would be the move that he would have to do, and then after b catches a3, rook catches a3 because he got to defend the b pawn. So in this position, would this be in White's favor? Uh, I would like to think it would be in. I want to say this kind of would be like in White's favor in a way, only due to the fact that he is up a rook and I'm down a rook. So he has four pawns. I have four pawns as well, but he's actually up a piece. After this, I don't think I see any more tactics after this. Um, Cause even cause honestly, even after Rook D2, he can just take, and now I don't have no checkmate no more because of King G3. So, but I think if he would have went Knight F4, he would have actually saved himself. But he didn't see it. Um, I got the W and everything. But but I hope y'all really enjoyed this video. I really hope that y'all enjoy the lines that I've given you and everything. If y'all have any questions or concern, definitely like, share, comment, or drop a comment below. Ask your questions. Y'all know I try to respond as quickly as possible. And with that being said, guys, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. All right, guys. Peace.